Every once in a while, army factions get new units. So it really got me thinking, what kind of unit would we appreciate in a Kruleboyz army? My name is Moss, and in this video, I would like to share some of my own creative thoughts on the kinds of a unit I would love to see in the Kruleboyz. So, design philosophy. First, I was thinking, what kind of unit are we missing in our army? And the answer? Cavalry. There's no unit in our army that is not a vulture that can really get out there on the map and secure objectives, flank the enemy, threaten the backline, and so on. So if we were to get cavalry in our army, what would we want that cavalry to do, and how would it fit? Like, how would the flavor of the cavalry fit? And in my head, I'm like, oh, just hit and run. We want to have cavalry that are on the flanks that are being really annoying and trying to encourage the enemy army to pursue us. We want to be a distraction. We're not going to be a big, right? Our cavalry units in our army are not going to be big hammers. They're not going to be casters, right? They're not going to be any of those things. It doesn't really fit with our lore. What they're going to be is they're going to be annoying, right? They're going to do hit and run tactics, things like that. So when we're designing a new unit, I used to do this all the time when I would make my own Magic the Gathering cards for fun, but you need to sort of have an anchor, an anvil that you're going to compare your creative design to for the sake of balance. So when I think about orcs and I think about good, strong cavalry units, I think Gore-gruntas. So for the sake of comparing balance and points and all and everything else, we're going to compare everything to Gore-gruntas. So let's sort of get started. So the unit, I like to call them Mudboyz, or Mud Bottom Boys, or something like that. So it's a unit of 5 for 170 points. 170 points is the same as Gore-gruntas, but Gore-gruntas get 3 models per unit. The category is Other, just like Gore-gruntas. The base size is 75 by 42, which is one size smaller than Gore-gruntas. Move is 9 inches. The wounds 3, which is 1 more than Gut-Rippas, but for the whole unit, it's going to be the same as Gore-gruntas. Their bravery is 5, same as Gut-Rippas, and they have a 5-up save, same as Gut-Rippas. So it's essentially a Gut-Rippa riding a swamp pig. And then they have the standard, +1 attack characteristic of the champion, +1 bravery for standard bearer, +1 charge for musician, and scare tactics. So they still won't be as tanky as Gore-gruntas, even though they have the same number of wounds, because they have 1 worse save and also 1 worse bravery, but also the fact that it's 3 models or 3 wounds per model as opposed to 5 wounds per model means that we're going to be losing our models a lot faster, right? If you deal 9 damage to a unit of Gore-gruntas, you're losing 1 model, right? But if you deal 9 damage to a unit of Mudboyz, you're losing 3 models. So they're not going to be as survivable as Gore-gruntas, and we're going to lose our ability to pump out damage a lot more quickly than a unit of Gore-gruntas. And after we have taken damage and lost models, we're going to lose more models to bravery checks than a unit of Gore-gruntas. Now, whenever I mention anything about Kruleboyz and our low bravery, people always like to point out to me that inspiring presence is a thing. And in my opinion, perhaps it differs for you, but I don't like to spend points on inspiring presence in this army. I find that we are very hungry for command points, and having to spend a point on inspiring presence, in my view, is already like we're already kind of losing at that point. So, just like everybody else, I'd much rather units be able to survive. So here is what I would suggest for the attack profiles for this unit, and I'm going to compare it at the end to what Gore Gruntas do. So the Wicked Sticka is the exact same attack profile as Gutrippas, right? 4401. We're going to expect about 2.75 damage versus a 4-up save and 2.44 damage versus a 3-up save. The majority of the damage that we're doing here comes in the form of venom-encrusted weapons. Just like Gutrippas, very few actual hits get through. It's all just venom-encrusted weapons for the most part. The Wicked Haka attack profile is the same for Gutrippas. We might be more likely to use Wicked Haka with this unit because they don't automatically come in 2 ranks. So the damage might go up a little bit, but again, most of the damage here it all comes from venom-encrusted weapons. Tusks and Hooves. This is a new attack just for the pigs, but it's going to be weak, right? 2 attacks per model. No +1 for the attack characteristic from the champion, and venom-encrusted weapons do not apply to mounts, so it's a 5-up to hit, a 4-up to wound with 0 rend and 1 damage, so it puts us at 0.83 damage versus a 4-up save and 0.56 damage versus a 3-up save, so we're really not expecting this attack profile to really do anything, but that's okay. This isn't really a bruiser unit. They're not really a fighty unit so much as they are, how would you support? It's like a support unit. And then they have a Muddy Spear, range of 8 inches, 1 attack, so 5 for the unit, 4-up to hit, 3-up to wound, 0 rend, 1 damage. So this attack profile is fundamentally the same as the Wicked Haka, except it comes at an 8-inch range, which is very nice for us. So damage comparisons total. So with all of the attacks, including the ranged attack, right? So if you move, throw your spear, charge, and you hit with a Wicked Haka profile, you're expecting to do about 6.95 damage versus a 4-up save and 5.86 damage versus a 3-up save. With the Wicked Sticka attack profile, you're gaining that +1 to range, right? But you're expecting less damage at a 6.64 versus a 4-up save and a 5.65 versus a 3-up save. But realistically, the difference in damage between the Wicked Haka and the Wicked Sticka profiles is very, very low. Now, to compare that to Gore Gruntas, a unit of 3 Gore Gruntas do 8.41 damage versus a 4-up save using the Jagged Gore Haka profile. So you can see in our comparison here that we don't deal as much damage as Gore Gruntas, right? Like 1 or 2 damage on average less, which is significant, right? That's a percentage-wise, that's pretty significant. And we're not as survivable as them, right? We have fewer, or we have the same wounds, but spread out across more bodies, a lower save. So we're not dealing as much damage as Gore Gruntas. We're not as survivable as Gore Gruntas. We do take up more space on the board as Gore Gruntas, but so far everything in this design is worse than Gore Gruntas. So keep that in mind as we go over the other abilities that this unit has. And also too, the 8.41 damage versus a 4-up save for Gore Gruntas does not include their charge, where they can deal 1, 2, or 3 more mortal wounds on top. So just keeping that in mind. So the abilities. So this is the one thing that I really liked for this unit. The ability is called Hit and Run. So after this unit finishes a charge move, pick an enemy unit within 1 inch and roll a die. Add 1 to the roll if you're using the Wicked Sticka attack profile. On a 1 to 2, nothing happens. On a 3 to 4, you deal D3 mortal wounds. And on a 5 to 6, you deal D3 mortal wounds, and then immediately you do a retreat move. So this is where the hit and run tactics come into play for our army. We send out this unit of pig riders off to the side. They run into the flank of the enemy, hit them, and then if we're using the Wicked Sticka profile, there's a 50% chance that we're going to deal D3 mortals and then move 8 inches away. So what we're telling the opponent is, hey, we just dealt you a few mortal wounds. We're not in combat with you. We're still off to the side. And now it's your turn. So on your turn, what are you going to do? Are you going to move away from us? Or are you going to engage us? If you move away from us, we're just going to do the same thing over again. We're going to move our 8 inches, throw our spear, dealing like 3 wounds on average, right? With a 4-up save, going to deal like 3 wounds. And then we're going to charge in again. And there's another 50% chance that we're going to poke you and then run away. So, like, what are you going to do? If you don't chase this unit, then, like, that's fine for us. We will continue to harass you on your side, or maybe you'll expose some heroes in the back line or something. And if you do chase us, that's okay too, because what we really want to do in our army is divide and conquer. We want to put the enemy player into a bad position where they have to make, where we force them to make some choices and there's no good outcome. If you chase our unit of pigs, you're screwed. If you don't chase our unit of pigs, you're screwed. Because that's the spirit of our army. That's the flavor that we're trying to bring. It's like, ha ha ha, like we've twisted and manipulated you and the world around you to give us all kinds of benefits before the fight has even started. I was also thinking of other rules of like deployment, right? Where like, you know, if your general has super sneaky, you can also include a unit of Mudboyz in addition to any other, right? Like something else that's like tricky that gets them out on the board and puts them in that really annoying harassment position. So anyway, if you like this video, be sure to let me know, because I had another idea for another cavalry unit involving hobgrots riding rats. So if this is something that you're interested in, just for the sake of discussion, I believe that sometimes if people are discussing new and good ideas, that those ideas, once they're spoken, they sort of circulate through other people's brains and ideas get refined, and then eventually maybe we'll actually get something like this in our army. That would be great. Are you listening, GW? I said, are you listening, GW? Do you see what I did here? Give us some rats. Give us some pig riders. Come on. All the other orcs get pig riders. Why can't we give us some pig riders? Gimme. Like, subscribe, blah.